Hello once again, EFD crew, how are you all doing? With all the focus on ruined careers recently, let's take a look at our top 10 footballers who revived their footballing lives. 10. Edin Dzeko. We begin with one of European football's most recent career resurrections. Edin Dzeko established himself as one of the continent's hottest prospects as he fired Wolfsburg to the Bundesliga title in 2009 and won the Golden Boot the following season. Newly moneyed Man City came in for the Bosnian striker in January 2011, expecting him to lead the line for years to come. But following a slow start and the signing of Sergio Aguero that summer, Dzeko's role in the City side eventually became that of an impact sub. It proved very effective for a couple of campaigns, but in 2014-15, the striker fell out of favour at the Etihad, making just 22 league appearances and scoring just 4. Dzeko was subsequently shipped off to Roma, where he had a similarly slow start, netting just 8 times in 31 league games. But in the 2016-17 season, he recaptured his beastly form of old, scoring a career-high 39 goals in 48 games, and taking the Golden Boot in both Serie A and the Europa League. Furthermore, he became the first Roma player to score 29 league goals since 1931, equaling Rodolfo Volk's club record. 9. Jerome Boateng. Next up, we have a man who was afforded significantly less minutes in his short time at Manchester City. Like Dzeko, Boateng was lured to the Etihad from the Bundesliga, having made his debut for Hamburg aged just 18 and held down his place for 3 seasons. Understandably a highly rated young centre-half, things never quite worked out for Boateng in Manchester, as he suffered injury problems and made just 16 league appearances, mainly out of position on the right. So in the summer of 2011, Boateng got a move to Bayern Munich, keen to get playing time and cement his place in the German national team. And the gamble paid off. Over the next 3 years, Boateng became a treble winner in Bavaria and was part of the Germany squad which won the World Cup in 2014. All the while, he established himself as one of the world's best ball-playing defenders. 8. Walter Samuel. Back in the early 2000s, things couldn't have been going much better for Argentine centre-half Walter Samuel. Playing at the heart of a Roma defence featuring the likes of Cafu and Christian Panucci, Samuel was a Serie A winner at the Stadio Olimpico and was rightly regarded as one of Europe's most solid centre-backs. So when Real Madrid came calling in 2004, it was obviously a no-brainer. The Bernabeu was reaching peak Galactico at the time, as Samuel joined up with Ronaldo, Beckham, Owen, Zidane and, Thomas Gravesen. Samuel was ever present that season, but failed to make the desired impact, as Los Blancos missed out on La Liga once again and went out of the Champions League in the second round. A move back to Italy beckoned, and Samuel joined Luis Figo in swapping Madrid for Milan. And it proved to be a more than sensible decision. Inter won 5 consecutive Serie A titles with the rock-like defender at the back and added the Champions League in 2010 as he formed a legendary partnership with Lucio. Approaching the end of his career, Samuel left the San Siro for Basel in 2014, departing Italy a legend. 7. Aritz Aduriz. Now for a player who didn't discover he was any good until very late on in his career. Basque striker Aritz Aduriz began his professional career at third-tier minnows Aruera, and after attracting interest from Athletic Bilbao, was signed up for their B team. After 2.5 seasons, Aduriz was promoted to the first team, but lasted just 4 games before being offloaded back to the third tier at Burgos. This time he had to work his way up the divisions the hard way, and became a trusted, if unremarkable, attacker at Valladolid in the Segunda Division before returning to Bilbao in 2006, where he played second string to Fernando Llorente up front. Aduriz couldn't even reach double figures in the league until he moved to Mallorca, by which time he was pushing 30, netting a career-high 12 in 2009-10. But after returning to Athletic Club for a second time in 2012, Aduriz, against all odds, found his mojo. He became integral to the Los Leones attack and banged in 36 goals in all competitions in 2015-16 at the age of 35. Zlatan, you're not that special. And that earned him a call-up to Spain's Euro 2016 squad. Better late than never. 6. Mohamed Salah. Next up in our list is another success story from the Eternal City. Mo Salah became one of Europe's most sought-after talents at Roma, but it didn't always look so likely. Picked up by Basel in 2012 after impressing in his native Egypt, Salah enjoyed 2 stellar seasons in Switzerland, catching the eye of a certain Jose Mourinho at Chelsea. But like so many young talents over the years, Salah struggled to get a look in at Stamford Bridge after a bright start, and was sent on loan to Fiorentina after just 1 year. And the speedy forward warmed quickly to life in Italy, helping the Gigliati to a 4th place finish, which earned him a move to the capital, where he reached a new level. Over 2 seasons at the Stadio Olimpico, Salah scored over 30 goals in all competitions, as well as providing 18 assists, as Roma showcased some of the best football on the continent. Watch this space. 5. Henrik Larsson. One for you Scottish football fans now, with perhaps one of the greatest players to have ever graced the country's footballing landscape. Henrik Larsson's career was far from plain sailing though, and went through many transformations. He was signed up by Feyenoord in 1993 and helped his country to a 3rd place finish at the World Cup just a year later. But Larsson eventually got sick of playing on the wing for the Dutch side and forced through a move to Celtic in 1997. And once in Glasgow, it became clear Larsson's talents had been previously wasted. He helped fire the boys to a First League title in 10 years in 1998 and bounced back from a horrific leg break to form a lethal partnership with Chris Sutton as Martin O'Neill took the helm at Celtic Park. In 2001, he scored an outrageous 52 goals in 50 games in all comps, as the Hoops stormed to a historic treble. Larsson would then truly prove his class as his career drew to a close. He was signed up by Frank Rijkaard for Barcelona in 2004, and despite performing a bit-part role, linked up wonderfully with the likes of Ronaldinho and Eto'o when he was on the pitch. Most notably, he changed the game completely after being subbed on in the 2006 Champions League final, setting up both goals as Barca beat Arsenal to lift the prestigious cup. 4. Diego Forlan. In 2002, Man United were in the market for a striker to compensate for the loss of Andy Cole and back up the goals of Ruud van Nistelrooy. They chose Diego Forlan, a promising Uruguayan forward who had impressed with Independiente in Argentina and was looking set for a switch to Middlesbrough before Ferguson hijacked the deal. But the gamble didn't work, and Forlan turned out to be one of Old Trafford's least effective imports. Despite gaining cult hero status by scoring twice to beat Liverpool at Anfield, the striker was far too inconsistent and left Manchester with just 17 goals from nearly 100 appearances. In the hope of saving his career, Forlan hopped over to La Liga in 2004, joining up with a squad almost exclusively made up of Spaniards and South Americans at Villarreal. And it worked. Clearly more at home with the Yellow Submarine's style of play, Forlan found world-beating form, pipping Samuel Eto'o to the Golden Boot as the club achieved a historic 3rd place finish in the league. And he carried on this run at Atletico Madrid, linking up with the young Sergio Aguero and winning the European Golden Shoe in 2009. At the 2010 World Cup, Forlan was instrumental in Uruguay's run to the semi-finals and got his hands on the coveted Golden Ball, awarded to the tournament's best player. To put that in perspective, it was previously won by Zinedine Zidane, Ronaldo and Maradona, and was handed 4 years later to none other than Lionel Messi. 3. Luca Toni. Italian forward Luca Toni is practically the definition of the term late bloomer. He only really started to prove himself in his mid-20s, when he fired Palermo to promotion from Serie B in 2004. That helped him secure a move to Fiorentina, where he was even more lethal, banging in 31 goals to win the European Golden Shoe in 2006. That summer, he led the line for Italy as they won the World Cup. Not bad for a guy who had spent the majority of his career out of the top flight. But following a move to the mighty Bayern Munich in 2007, things started to go a bit downhill. Toni enjoyed a dream start at the Allianz, again bagging the top scorers award as Bayern won a league and cup double. But within 2 years, injuries had forced Toni to be demoted to the reserves, and he then became a journeyman, turning out for the likes of Juventus and Roma, but proving ineffective in front of goal. In 4 years, Toni scored just 28 goals, spanning 6 different clubs. But he rediscovered his eye for goal in the most unlikely of places after moving to newly promoted Hellas Verona in 2013. 20 league goals in his first season signalled a return to form, as the club silenced the doubters and finished comfortably in 10th. But it was no fluke. The following season, Toni banged in 22, meaning he won the Serie A Golden Boot at the grand old age of 38. 2. Esteban Cambiasso. Quite the opposite of Luca Toni, Argentine centre-mid Esteban Cambiasso was predicted a big future from a young age. Coming through the ranks at Independiente around the same time as the aforementioned Diego Forlan, Cambiasso broke into the first team aged just 18, and within 4 years he had earned 2 big moves, first to River Plate and then to Real Madrid. But the marauding midfielder was not afforded much of a chance with the star-studded Merengues, and after just 17 league appearances in his second season, was offloaded to Inter Milan. It was sink or swim for Cambiasso, who was approaching his peak age, but thankfully it was the perfect fit. Cambiasso instantly became a stalwart in the Nerazzurri midfield, as the club embarked on one of the most highly decorated periods in their history. The man known to many as Cucciu enjoyed 10 happy seasons at the San Siro and was ever present for the duration, winning a remarkable 15 trophies in the process. 1. Dennis Bergkamp. In at number 1 we have a player who was not quite so fortunate at Inter. Dennis Bergkamp was given his professional debut by Johan Cruyff at Ajax aged just 17, and by the early 1990s the forward was one of the hottest prospects in Europe. 33 goals in 40 games in the 1992-93 season convinced the Nerazzurri to take a punt on the young attacker, and initially it worked. Bergkamp enjoyed his first season at the San Siro, firing Inter to UEFA Cup glory as the competition's top scorer, but things quickly turned sour thereafter. In 1994-95, the Dutch wizard lost his magic, scoring just 5 goals in all competitions, and never really achieved full fitness. To make matters even worse, Bergkamp fell out of favour with the Italian press and the fans, who mistook his reserved demeanour for a lack of commitment to the club. And he had to endure all this while his old Ajax teammates enjoyed historic success in the Champions League. At the end of the season, the cast-aside Bergkamp was snapped up by Arsenal, who smashed their transfer record for the Dutchman. A year later, Arsene Wenger took the helm at Highbury, and the forward went from strength to strength as the side around him flourished into one of Europe's top sides. Bergkamp won the PFA Player of the Year award in 1998, as the Gunners won the double, and he would go on to form a legendary partnership with Thierry Henry, score a number of extraordinary goals, and of course, become an invincible. So that was our top 10 players who resurrected their careers. But what did you think? As always, let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, why not check out Stat Wars and also Continental Club, where the biggest stories in Europe are being discussed. And as always, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe.